Welcome back to the Restaurant Growth Show podcast. In today's episode, we'll explore how operators can adapt to modern day challenges, uncover new revenue streams, and leverage technology for enhanced efficiency and customer experiences. Here to help us get to the bottom of all of this is the Director of SEO and E-commerce for restaurantsupply.com out of Fredericksburg, Texas. We are pleased to welcome Sabina Campbell. Sabina, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Thank you. I am good. I'm glad to be here.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
What's happening in your world? What's going on?
Oh my goodness. In the technology world, or are we talking about the local world?
Just in general, in your closest vicinity.
Well, the weather's not cold. It's a great winter. That's exciting. I'm not a huge fan of winter, so when Texas is warm all year round, I won't complain.
The opposite today has been a really cold day for myself, but we are in Canada, so we kind of have a little bit of experience with that.
It's a little bit of a different climate here on the west coast of Canada, Sabina. So bear with us.
I lived in Sweden for many years, so I understand it, which is why I live in Texas now.
There you go. Exactly. Right on.
Makes sense. I'm curious. So I went to your website and I was like, oh my God, SEO, e-commerce. I even went like, okay, tags, even the pictures, every photo is well named, properly named, like everything. Just amazing. How big is your team? Like, it's got to be a lot of work.
We have standardized processes and really standardize everything to put in place. So we don't have to have a larger team. We have help with a lot of automation tools and obviously AI with certain things. So we've been able to automate a lot of it, which is great, but we have a great team. We have product specialists and restaurant specialists. So what we do is we focus on the customer journey. When we do optimize them, yes, they are SEO best practices, but they are focused on the customer and the needs and their pain points. So a lot of things, when you read them, we make sure we include the specs and we include everything they'll be looking for when they're either building a new kitchen or they're rebuilding a new kitchen. And then we also have a great team behind it, that a product specialist and really restaurant industry experts that answer the phone and help people through it. So we have a great team behind us and everybody kind of works together. So it's wonderful.
In regards to SEO, back in the day, a backlinking strategy was critical to ranking higher on Google. What's your take on the value of having a strong backlink portfolio for either a product page or just the website in general?
Well, what's great is with the helpful content update that came out, if you create great content, the backlinks will come to you.
Well said.
Sabina, as merchants continue to navigate this changing landscape, what are the most pressing challenges they face entering 2024, and how can they effectively adapt to these obstacles?
Well, restaurants are going to have to modernize, and that's not always easy because you have processes in place, many of these places for maybe 100 years since they started. So you're going to have to change the way you do things and the way everybody does things to modernize the kitchen and keep up with technology. So one of the biggest issues I see right now is staff shortages. And with staff shortages, you don't just have a shortage of staff, you have a shortage of people that actually want to work. Nobody wants a labor intensive job anymore. They want to work from home in their pajamas. They don't want to work the odd hours. They want more money. They don't want to deal with the customer. The customer after COVID became a lot more demanding. So there's been a lot of changes in really who wants to come back to the restaurant industry that I've seen. And for that, you almost need to kind of lean on software to automate some of the processes that you may not want to use people for. So for example, there's, a lot of great IoT solutions now that are coming out. And with these IoT solutions, for example, you may have had 3 fryers before. Now you may only need 1 because they can keep an eye on temperatures and changing oil and everything from 1 tablet. So you're able to integrate with this technology. That's absolutely amazing. It helps you cut costs. It also helps you increase safety. You have refrigeration monitoring systems that increases the safety of food, tells you when things expires. It integrates with automated inventory systems. I mean, it's absolutely amazing, the things that are coming out. And there's new things every day. I mean, the hard thing is, what do you pick? which one's here to
Yeah.
stay and which one is what you call this 3D TV. Do you remember that?
Yeah, absolutely. I do.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I had a Bravia that did that. I love that you also said that because I did a chapter on just specifically that, an episode where I was talking about how consumer expectations are no longer such, they are demands, right?
Yeah, they truly are. And I don't understand how people became more demanding. And on top of that, you don't have a lunch rush anymore because nobody's at work. So what do these restaurants do? They depend on delivery apps, which take 30% of their profits. And every delivery app, maybe one sends you a tablet, one sends you in an order, you don't know where it's coming from. Then you have to depend on software that integrates and tells you where these things coming from, where they're going. It's I don't understand how they even keep track without getting these systems. And maybe later on that's really how a restaurant can optimize now is I think, optimizing the front of the house to start and then integrating with the back of the house and hooking up all your equipment with IoT. For example, what happens if a piece of your equipment breaks on your peak, on your peak time? You stop, and when you have like this IoT technology, what's great about it is you'll know 2, 3, 4 weeks, maybe more before, and they've already sent you the replacement part. And 1 week before it breaks, you've already replaced it.
Yeah, that's a great point. I'm curious with these new back of house technologies like the fryers, like the refrigeration systems, are you seeing a great amount of food waste reduction?
Yes and no. It depends if people know how to use them.
Fair. Yeah.
So yes, I think in time there will be.
Great.
But yeah, it's the one thing I really liked when I've seen a couple technologies that do is they set up for each person. They set up different, depending on the role, they set up different maintenance schedules. And they say, well, you have to clean the fridge and you have to move your ingredients around, right? So you move the ingredients around maybe every morning, and then it assigns people to do so. And that's what's great. And it lends accountability to each person because they can't sign out until they've done those tasks. So now you're not hunting people and going, did you do it? Did you do it? Did you do it? You already know they've done it. And the really cool thing for, big chains is you can have somebody sitting in a big office looking at all their chains, looking at all their equipment. I mean, it's a dream, truly.
Yeah, the master dashboard from head off. Absolutely.
And the gamification of real life work, right? Fantastic.
Yeah, like the
Exactly.
SOPs. It's like, okay, I see green check marks next to all of my diagnostics. We're good to go, right?
Exactly.
That's really cool. So switching gears a little bit, Sabina, let's talk about new revenue sources. So with traditional dining patterns evolving, what innovative trends do you foresee this year that owners can leverage to uncover new revenue sources?
There's a couple. I think meal kits, packaged products. So, examples, sauces, hot sauces, barbecue sauces, subscription models. A really neat one that I like is back when you had cookbooks, right? How long has it been since you've seen a cookbook?
Exactly. Yeah.
Not even online cookbooks, not even app cookbooks. You don't want them anymore. Now you want meal recipe apps. You want like an app like Mealtime. It's absolutely amazing. More residential market. And what they do is, you say, well, I want these 7 recipes, and then it creates a shopping list and everything. I mean, that's what people want. They want to simplify their lives, and they want apps to simplify their lives. So creating these recipes on these meal apps, I think is, really amazing. And then you have, partnerships with different verticals like meal kits for gyms, factories, offices, pre-order catering. You obviously have all those as well, but I definitely think meal kits, packaged products, and subscription models are the trends that I've seen the highest increase in the last year.
What would you say to an operator who says, well, I don't want to go up against the local grocery store? What would you say to that operator?
It's a good question. I haven't seen enough of it to really know what it's. I mean, that's a whole nother game. Truly, you have to pay for shelf. You have to, grocery store is a whole different game that I'm not as familiar with. Definitely, it'll be interesting to see. I say yes, you're going against some big names, but I mean, localization, farmers markets. You have to start somewhere, but I mean, you can build your brand of your restaurant as well. So it's not just about the subscription package products, it's about building a brand as well. And I think building a brand is more important now more than ever.
I agree. Yeah, I think even though that may be a direct competition with, say, a grocery store in terms of packaged meals, I think that's a great way to differentiate your average restaurant with diversifying those offerings, those product offerings, saying, oh, you know what? I don't have to come here or get delivery from here or just come here for lunch or dinner. I can also grab some meals to go and have those delivered as well. So I think it's a great suggestion. It's still early days, obviously, like you were saying. So going back a little bit to the technologies that you mentioned, I know you mentioned quite a few of back of a house, but what can you share some insights on like the latest technologies that restaurants are using for customer experience, and how are these solutions, in your opinion, transforming the industry?
Well, front of the house, like for example, Toast point of sale, which I've worked with the most, they're one of our partners. So, I mean, they're absolutely amazing in the fact that they have a little bit of everything. You have ones that come in every day, but you also have Toast, Clover, the big ones that are there to stay. And they also have APIs into some of the back of the house, and a lot of them have already built integrations into it. So I personally like to go after the bigger ones that already have integrations into it. They already have it figured out, because figuring out, if you've ever worked with a dev team, figuring out an API and trying to integrate stuff is not always fun.
We're experiencing that currently, that's for sure.
A lot of experience in that department for sure.
Yes.
That's a perfect segue into my next question, which is API, plugins, tech stack. All of these things are new to the restaurateurs, and each of these pieces of technology produces a lot of data, right? So how is data analysis changing the way operators make business decisions? And what role does data play in staying competitive?
Well, I mean, data is your backbone to really everything. You won't know what a customer needs and wants. I mean, with the right kind of data, you can know what inventory to order, when your peak times are going to be, when to have your top people there and when not to. So data is going to not just save you money on when to bring all your servers and all your staff in, but it's going to tell you what kind of recipes and what you need so you don't run out of the wrong stuff. So I mean, it's just limitless what you can do with data, and the history of data is the most valuable thing your company has. A company with data is worth so much more than a company with nothing, because
Right.
you know company is going without data. You can say, well, I have a great restaurant and I have a great brand. Okay, well, what's your historic data?
Data tells a story, right?
Exactly. We love data here. What about the restaurant supply? Okay. How do you foresee the restaurant supply chain evolving? And what steps should businesses take to adapt to those changes?
Well, more technology, less people. You can count on software to show up every morning. In regards to supply chain, there's one thing that I always think about, and then, with restaurants, they always say, well, I want to do farm to table. I'm like, well, how are you going to automate that? You can't, and there's going to be challenges in it like that, how there's going to be certain aspects of your business, like, with fine dining. If you have a fine dining restaurant and you do it a certain way, you're always going to want to have a human touch on it. So I guess it really depends on what you want to be. So
Yeah.
I think there's a balance to technology and human touch always. I think AI should always assist, or technology should always assist, but the human touch should be the main driving force.
Yeah, one of the things that we tend to talk about here is about the ecosystem, right? It's the farm to table, then the table to wasteland or whatever options, recycling, etc. But the one thing that always shows up and that technology does, and that consumers demand, is that the ecosystem be tight, just in time systems, just like a conveyor belt, right? And I think that that's also one of the reasons that demand is so precious to the consumer, because time, we repeat, time is money.
Well, yeah, and good things take time. If you kill all creativity and you make it a process, what's the fun in it?
Yeah, we turn out to all be on an assembly line, right? We turn into the robots, but that's another episode. What about, like, when I think of restaurant supply chain evolving and new technologies there, I don't think anybody's really mentioned driverless trucks, like
Yeah.
that's happening, right? And that's going to cut down in a major way on, the human side of things, is having these trucks being driven across the country delivering supplies, and it's soon, it's coming.
Well, I heard it's going to become like the Jetsons soon. All these drones drones flying everywhere.
I'm still waiting for my hoverboard. I've requested that many times.
On the flip side, I mean, technically, I hope that is all of these pieces of technology allows us to be freer. Then
Yeah.
we're able to have more human to human interactions. Hopefully, that's my hope.
Well, they got to use their powers for good, so we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, we're running out of time here for this episode. I'm going to end with these thoughts. The challenges ahead are real, but so are the opportunities. Embracing new technologies, exploring unconventional revenue streams, and understanding the power of data can transform challenges into stepping stones for growth. Remember, it's not just about surviving the changes, it's about leveraging them to create a unique and memorable dining experience. For merchants, now is the time to look beyond the traditional, to be bold, and to embrace the new dynamics of the industry. With the right tools and mindset, you can navigate these changes and emerge stronger and more successful. Sabina, now's your time to plug away. Where can merchants connect with you? What's your platform of choice?
Probably LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, just at Sabina Campbell. That's where they can get at you.
Yeah, let me see. Let's see here. I don't know my link. Let me see. It is digital-marketing-AI-SEO.
There we go. You got it. Speaking of plugs, this podcast is sponsored by Dine Pricing, real-time restaurant profitability. Dine Pricing uses artificial intelligence to improve restaurant profitability by dynamically updating menus across digital channels like Uber Eats, DoorDash, and Grubhub. That is all the time we have for this episode today. Thanks again to Sabina Campbell for joining us. Until next week, say goodbye, Jose.
Goodbye, Jose.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Sabina.